All right, today is the last day of the month, January 31st, 2024. This is the BYOB Market Wrap Up. Let's take a look at some charts. Here's SPY taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of price action. Almost six. I think it got close to the bottom of that tail right there, but not quite. Now, I'll probably hit it in the aftermarket, but there you go right there. So, big question, do we get follow through on this? Do we need to test 480 before going higher? Do we need to test 480 before going to 500? That's the question. I say yes, but the market's going to tell us what it wants to do. But here's SPY closing below the trap and headed straight for trend indicator right now. See, there's SPY. So taking out 5 days of bullish price action with 1 day right here. So FOMC really didn't give us really any bad news. They just said they're going to be kind of hawkish and watching it. That's it. But they didn't say. They still seem to believe that they've got cuts are coming down the line for this year. So we'll see what happens. But there's SPY taking out 5 days of bullish price action well into the 6th and 7th. So we'll see what happens there. I think a test of minor support would be nice. We haven't tested minor support in so long. I'd like to see us test minor support and then bounce up and make a new high. So let's take a look at QQQ. Well, I'm just going to go out on a limb here like I always do and say that probably all 5 are going to look the same way. And let's take a peek at it. Yep. Okay, so here's QQQ. Still not near the minor support. See that? Closing on the trend indicator, below the trap, between the trap and the trend indicator. QQQ, lower high, lower low. Now QQQ just wiped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 days of bullish price action right there. So QQQ looking like it wants to tackle that minor support and see if it's going to hold. So we'll see what happens there. So where's the prior highs for QQQ? I am just curious, and I think I want to push this up to the prior highs right there. So see where. So I wouldn't doubt it if QQQ comes into 409.09 after resting. It may rest tomorrow and then come down here on Friday. We'll see what happens. But there's QQQ on the daily, lower high, lower low, closing between the trap and the trend indicator. Let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU rolling over. Let's take this out of the way. All right, back down to the trend line. Here's that uptrend line right there. And FNGU closing under the trap. And I got to say, that looks like it's under the trend indicator too. I mean, I see some red down there. So under the trap, under the trend indicator, over the uptrend line. So we'll see what happens. FNGU looking like wants to put in a head and shoulders pattern there. So lower high, lower low on FNGU, wiping out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 days of bullish price action on FNGU. Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow hanging in there, closing inside the trap. Not too bad for Diamond Dow. It's only got 30 stocks though. Still a little bit of ways for the minor support. And you can see it's got some room to move. So we could get some more follow through tomorrow. We'll see what they want to do. Don't be surprised if it's an inside day and the follow through comes in on Friday. There's Diamond Dow, IWM. So here's IWM putting in a lower high here, possibly closing below the trap, below the trend indicator, actually almost dragging the trap down through the trend indicator. And you've got a lower, well, that's about an equal high and definitely a lower low there on IWM. So let's take a look at energy, USO. So here's USO. USO selling off today, same thing. Lower high, lower low, closing below the trap, between the trap and the trend indicator. UNG, I don't even want to look. UNG, higher low, higher high, closing inside the bearish trap. It's still bullish. It has not broken this low yet. It is still bullish. Silver and gold. All right, silver pulling back today with, looks like a lower high and, well, equal high and a lower low, closing below the trap and below the trend indicator. There's silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold making a higher high and a higher low, closing above the trap, spiking the downtrend line, but not able to close over the downtrend line. Still in that bullish flag pattern there. Let's take a look at our indicators. Wow, so the indicators, we went from, well, we just went from 60 to 0 in a microsecond there. So here we are with T2122, fell out of the buy zone, into the buyer's chop zone for most part of the day. Slipped up into the buy zone for a microsecond after FOMC. And then we are knocking on the door of the sell zone right here. So we have slipped through the seller's chop zone. We're almost right into the sell zone here. So T2123, see what that looks like. Yeah, you can see here we are green. Little VWAP test right there probably. And tried to break out to new highs and got rejected. And you can see us now looking for, probably come down and visit this rising 200 SMA. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of consolidation here. And you notice that consolidation probably going to line up with the price action of the rising 200 and that consolidation right there. Probably sometime tomorrow right there. And T2123, that big open gap we were talking about has almost disappeared there. T2123, price action coming right back to the trend indicator. Trend indicator didn't even have to chase it down this time. So we got to pull back here to trend indicator. FNGU, we gapped down. We tested the highs. We failed. And we came back underneath VWAP and just started selling off right there. So FNGU almost red all day except for the nanosecond from the FOMC excitement. That's it. That's really it. And couldn't quite hold the flat 200. Maybe we get back up. We'll see what happens. There's FNGU. I think Apple reports pretty soon. Does Apple not report pretty soon here? Oh yeah, here's SPY coming all the way down to the open gap right there. They may gap the gap. Who knows? So let's just go see when Apple reports, if we can find it on our earnings. And here's the first. Yeah, Apple's going to report tomorrow morning. That's about $3 trillion right there. Now, Microsoft and Google reported, but I got to say it wasn't bad, but I think the market just said it's time for a pullback. So we got quite a bit of market cap. We got $1.5 trillion from Amazon, $1 trillion from Facebook, Meta, and almost $3 trillion reporting tomorrow evening. All right. almost 3 trillion from Apple. So big chunk of market cap reporting tomorrow night, just like we had. What did we have that this morning, or that was last night? Yeah, that was the other night there, Tuesday night. We had Microsoft and Google report. So that's it, traders. If you have any questions, post them in there. Do my best to answer them. And I will see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. All right? Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Tex, Frank, Mel, everybody that participates in the conversation, especially if it's about trading. I love it. All right? I'm looking for follow-through tomorrow. Thanks, Starley and Richard. Okay, big red candle. We're looking for the follow-through tomorrow. Might be an inside day, and then get the follow-through on Friday. We'll see what happens. Big red candle needs follow-through. And I think we're in for a good test of 480.